My last review of the day is going to be for the film Companion, which released this week. As you see on the posters there, maybe you've seen it's from the same creators from the film Barbarian, which I did love Barbarian, which came out a few years ago. Um, was kind of a sneak hit, of that year, but with Barbarian there. Got great word of mouth, and a lot of people talked about it. I was like, "Man, have you seen the film Barbarian?" And it just ended up making this money because so many people kept talking about it and, kept discussing it. So, when they said it's from some of the same creators as that film, I was excited to check out this film, Companion. Now, I don't know how much people know about this film. I don't know, maybe some things might be a little spoilerish there, with Companion, maybe discussing some of the plot details because with the trailer, I don't know if people how much marketing of the movie that people have seen with this. Um, so I'm gonna try not to discuss a whole lot with it. But I mean, there's a kind of a pivotal thing about Sophie Thatcher's character that's kind of important to the movie that I don't know how exactly I'm gonna work my way around when discussing it. But um, you all let me know maybe if I'm going too far. So yes, so you have this movie Companion here, and you have the character Iris, who's played by Sophie Thatcher. People know Sophie Thatcher. She was actually just in the movie recently, Heretic, with Hugh Grant, which I liked her quite a bit in that movie. And she's also in the show Yellow Jackets as well. She's also popped up in that movie, The Boogeyman. She was in Book of Boba Fett, so she's been in quite a bit of things. So it's her relationship with Jack Quaid, who Jack Quaid we're seeing a lot of. It recently pop up in a lot of stuff. I mean, voice work. He's also doing stuff like he's obviously Huey from The Boys. He's been in things like Oppenheimer. He's been in things like Scream films. Jack Quaid, and he's also going to be in a movie coming out later this year, I think in March, called Novocaine. So Jack Quaid is also a person we've seen a lot of recently. Um, so they play a couple, and they're having a trip there with a group of friends, in this kind of, not a cabin, this lake house here, and there's kind of a plot that kinda, a noir type plot that kinda ensues with this, and it's all about kinda Sophie Thatcher's character figuring out a way, how she's kinda going to escape and how she's kinda gonna get back home there. Um, and if you don't if you wanna know as little as possible going in, which maybe you wanna know, maybe click off this review. But, so Sophie Thatcher in the movie, she is what is called a companion bot. She's in this world here, there are robots, people have these robots, so now it's kinda one of those existence where AI has gotten so advanced where we can have, fully, functional and hot looking sex dolls there that can be our girlfriends there. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those type of futures. And AI it's always been a thing in movies, in science fiction, particularly. We've had tons of movies about the subject. Uh, Recently, we've had a slew of movies. I just, that movie with Megan Fox, Subservience, was on my list of one of the worst movies of last year. And this is kind of similar in kind of tone of that. Hey, you got this, AI robot there. With that, it's a little bit similar to something like that, but it's not. I mean, don't worry, it's not as shitty as something like Subservience, so don't worry about that. And then also, with AI type of stories, like I also talked about the John Cho movie Afraid, which was also on my worst of list, as well, with that movie. Uh, Rating from Truth, it might not get out of 2025 without some of these sex robots walking around in real life. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. Like, AI, I mean, that's a big thing in news right now. All these different AI chat GPT and DeepSeek and all these other different AI, art and people using AI in movies now with, like there was a whole controversy with the Brutalist where Adrian Brody used AI to like alter his voice to sound more Hungarian. So it's a big controversial thing, and then obviously the stuff with robots always is a thing in science fiction, as I said. And obviously, a lot of stuff, a lot of movies involving AI in sci-fi, they kind of have a lot of similar plots of the AI. When humans, there's always the thing like, well, humans designed AI to protect humanity and to help it be better, and to make sure that humanity survives. But then there's always that eventual, eventual thing where AI turned on people. And AI, all of a sudden it realized how fucked up humanity was, and was like, the only way to protect humanity is we just gotta fucking kill you. We gotta kill you, and we gotta genocide all of you, and basically start over from square one again because you all don't know what the fuck to do. So we gotta basically be your dictators, your rulers, because yeah, you don't know how to work things. And that was basically one of the plots of another recent sci-fi film, Atlas, which was, again, this was also pretty terrible as well. This was with Jennifer Lopez in it, and I also reviewed this film. But I mean, again, that the plot I just said with an AI film, you can trace that back to Terminator. You can trace that back to a lot of other AI stories there of AI taking over the world. This isn't relatively new again with that. And now, why am I bringing up all these other AI sci-fi type stories? Well, because it kind of fits in with Companion, and like I said, with a lot of different AI plots. You also have the AI plot with robots, like they kinda have a moment of, sentience, like what is a human being? What makes a human being? What is love? What is emotions? What is feelings? Who, these feelings and the emotions that Sophie Thatcher has, even if they are programming, they are real to her, and they are something that she does connect with and makes her feel as a person. So is she therefore a person? It plays around with a lot of that. Um, I mean, some an immediate connection for something like this you would go is, with the film, obviously, again, a more of an OG type of film is Stepford Wives. I mean, that's also another kind of comparison that this may draw, from something like this. And obviously, Stepford Wives, I mean, there was one from 1975, there was the one from 2004 or 5, I believe. But if people know the premise of Stepford Wives, then people know what I'm talking about there if they've ever checked it out or ever seen it. You kind of got that going on, and that's what kind of Companion does a little bit, is it plays around with that idea of what makes kind of a person, and then also this relationship that she has with Jack Quaid. Of I think, a lot of what a lot of sci-fi movies do is they try to work in also some commentary in there, much like with sci-fi. And I think I mean, it touches on a numerous of things, and one of those things being, you know, kind of a woman being in a abusive relationship, and a woman really centering a man above all else, in her life, and what that can kind of lead to. And you see that with Sophie Thatcher, because something doesn't seem right with her. Even if you're walking in this kind of blind, like something doesn't seem right. I mean, she's so like, over the top in wanting to please him and wanting to be there for him and be very supportive of him, and it's just, like, very, very over the top, very, very kind of embellishing in the way that she really wants him, and wants to support him and everything. And it's like, something's quite maybe not a little right here, with what's going on. And I think a lot of the movie, I think there's a purpose for there to be a female lead in this film. Much like with Barbarian as well, I think with Barbarian, there was also very much a purpose for there to be a female lead in that film, and a female protagonist in that film, of talking about some of the different various, women's issues there. And I think here also it does that as well. Um, and Radiant from Shruti said China's gonna have mass produced humanoid robots this year, supposedly. Probably won't be sexy right away though. Yeah, it's gonna take some time. I think maybe in the next 2 generations we're gonna get maybe sexy robots like Sophie Thatcher that we can mate with, and we can it could be like an actual girlfriend there with that. Um, but yeah, so you kind of see that kind of going on in this, and I think that's what a lot of the movies trying to talk about and discuss there, just being that of like in a woman kind of staying in an abusive relationship, and then the question always is, you know why are you staying in this abusive relationship? What is the purpose of why you're doing that? And it's easy from your side maybe looking in of like, why wouldn't you just leave this person who's causing you this much harm? But also, from their perspective, it's like, a lot of this movie deals with like memories and how those memories are connected to feelings. You know, the first time you ever saw someone and you kind of locked eyes and you had that moment, you know, like what that kind of means to you and how that is kind of important. And it's hard to divorce all those good feelings just away from all the negative things as well. Like, you know, it's hard just to divorce all those great feelings that you have with the person, all those great moments that you had with the person. You know, it's like, huh, you know, all those moments is kind of like you can't just take all those moments and just, you know, destroy them and take them away and then just leave the person because of that. Yeah, and to see her kind of on the offensive in this movie as well is also really great to see. I think Sophie Thatcher, amongst, I mean, you got a good cast as well with this. I mean, I mentioned Jack Quaid already, but Sophie Thatcher is really good here as the lead of this. The other supporting cast in this movie here, you have Lucas Gage in this, who we just saw in Smile 2. He was the drug dealer in that movie. We have Harvey Gillian in this, who people might know. He's Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows. Um, and then you also have Megan Shuri in this, who plays Kat in this. She's the what she was in a movie we review called I remember reviewing that movie, It Lives Inside, which I like that movie. I like that movie quite a bit, but I was like, thought that was a solid movie there. So she also shows up there as also one of the other friends in this. And then you also have a Russian guy who's Sergey in this, who's played by Rupert, a friend in this. So yeah, so you see kind of as things develop and where things are going. Much like Barbarian as well, like it has this kind of blend of good, you know, horror and comedy as well with it. Like there's some moments that are I think very funny in this. It's also balanced by some I think good dramatic moments as well. Again, for this movie to come out in January, I'm very impressed. I mean, because usually January is just like a dump month of just like this is where studios just kind of put all their shitty movies out and just kind of like here you go. We're just throwing this out here. It's gonna get the less attention. Not many people are gonna go to the theater in January. So we can just kind of dump this off and get rid of this. But I really like this quite a bit. I was looking forward to this movie. And I'm glad it lived up to the hype that I was expecting from this. I greatly enjoyed Companion. I would give it a peak for me for this film for all the kind of great things I mentioned about it. Brady from Trudy said, "Does this give you confidence that Craig are doing Resident Evil?" Well, he's just a producer on this film. He's just a producer. Drew Hancock wrote and directed this film. Um, and, Zach Kreger was the one who he's the one who directed Barbarian. He was one of the guys from, The Whitest Kids You Know. He was from that comedy troupe there. Yeah, he's just a producer and companion, on this film, but, yeah, I'm excited to see what Zach Kreger, who did direct Barbarian, I'm excited to see what he does with Resident Evil. Yeah, I'm excited to see that, but, yeah, if people get a chance, I highly recommend checking this out. Again, along with a movie like Presence, I think that, it is on my list of kind of early favorite movies of the year. I liked it, quite a bit. I liked it that much. Again, I know it's only January. I'm just saying, you know, I like to make an early list of movies I really like, pin that down. You know, maybe these movies will make an appearance maybe later on, down the line, depending on how the year shakes up. But yeah, I felt very strongly about this movie. This gets into a spoiler thing. I'm not gonna spoil it, what happens at the end, but, there's something that kinda it's a little nitpickish. There's something with the Jack Quaid character where I'm like, I feel like you should have known that. There's some information that gets revealed to him at the end where I feel like you should have known that information, given your circumstances. But that's a more of a spoiler discussion, spoiler talk there if you know what I'm talking about. But that's kind of a nitpick there. With that, there's also something else that happens in the movie um, where you know Sophie Thatcher. Um, you said Raven Patrice said a surprise. It's not a surprise. It's kind of more of the relevant. It's kind of more along the lines of like there's information that kind of comes up that it's like I feel like his character should know that information. That shouldn't be a surprise to him there. There's some information that comes up, but when you see it, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. Rated M for immaturity there. Um, yeah, oh, interesting, I didn't realize it was a different director. Yeah, it's a different director there. I mean, a lot of the marketing for this movie has been, "Hey, it's from the same creative team as Barbarian," I think that's a lot of the selling point of the movie that they're trying to do with this, is that, "Hey, it's from the people that brought you Barbarian, and if you like Barbarian and you remember how much you like that, maybe come back and watch this companion." So I think they're really pushing that with the marketing of it, to try to sell people on it, but, no, no, it's not from I did think that at first, that it was from the same director as Barbarian, but no, it's just, like, the same producers as the film there. Do I like this as much as Barbarian? It's got kind of some of the same issues as Barbarian where I feel like the ending doesn't completely work for me, 100%. But again, it's kind of like a nitpick thing. I still think the movie's strong overall. I still, like I said, I still very much enjoy the movie. I still would give it a peek. The just some the ending is not the smoothest as I would want it to be, for me there. But yeah, so the issue with Jack Quaid, and then there's an issue that comes up with, as far as, like, when she's, like I said, she's a robot. There's a moment where she's kind of messing around with her settings, and then she, like, maxes out her intelligence there for that, and then the plan she comes up with is like, "Okay, this is you on 100%, intelligence." Like, I mean, it seems like she would kinda be better there, with that when it came to that. So, again, that's another kinda nitpick I have, um, with, with that. So that's kind of another nitpick. Um, yeah, but that's kind of all I really got. No real strong complaints, just a couple of, like, picking them nits. That's all I'm doing with this. So yeah, I'll close out with that. Companion in theaters now. Highly recommend it. Go check it out.